It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies. Hello, Mariam. How are you? I'm not going to ask you how was your weekend. How have you been?
I've been good. But you know what's interesting? I've been reading stories of people running out away from isolation centers. Nigerians, why are you running away from the only place that can save you right now? You're not well. They have confirmed that you have the coronavirus, and you are right there where you need to be to get all the help you need. And then you disappear.
I think that
where are you going?
I think we should also investigate why they are running away. Because if the place is actually taking care of them and conducive, I don't think they should run away. So while we're appealing to them to stay there, let them tell us why they're running away. Maybe something that can be prevented.
Let us find them first, because the reasons we're talking about is because they have run away, we cannot find them.
And also, many of them are asymptomatic. So somebody, you're not sick, but you have it. So then you're not isolating it, but they don't understand why they're being isolated. You had been isolated so you don't spread it. And yeah, so that can be a frustration to somebody who's been confined. I'm not sick, I don't have symptoms, and yet you're making me stay here. So there are different reasons, but at the same time, we must understand that this, and I like what Fola Adeola said in the papers, that coronavirus is not going anywhere anytime soon. Definitely it's still here until we get a vaccine. But in the meantime, we must find a way to contain it and don't let it spread. Because the more we spread it, the more people die. So because you have it, and that's all of us have to take that responsibility.
I understand those that did not know they are positive. But when you know you're positive and you run away, you are putting the lives of many others at risk. But me, I know that I'm fine. I'm good. My kids woke up on Saturday and they were like, Mommy, we haven't done our classwork. I said, today is Saturday. There's no school today. Oh, okay. Yesterday again, Mommy, where's the laptop? I said, oh gosh. Maybe we need to put, I need to wake up everyone and announce today is Monday, so everybody will know. Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Apparently, because there's nothing different each day, we just wake up and just...
When I wake up this morning, I had to look up, okay, I try to think, okay, is this today Monday? Is today Sunday? What did I do yesterday? What happened? I had to know, okay, today is Monday, and I'll stand up.
Just check your phone. Just check your phone.
I realize that a lot of people are going back to business, and I want to beg my staff, they're tired of being at home. They want to go back to work, and I'm saying, listen, the numbers have increased. I know that they are increasing. And based on economics, the government is trying to balance everybody, and I've called it off. You be wise. Why would you open your business while I know I can do my business is not crowded, I do one-on-one, I can mask up, glove up everything. I'm not going to rush to go open up my shop and say, everybody come in, because I need to protect my staff and protect others also. So let's, as much as possible, if you are not in dire strains, observe every level.
And as the posts have been going around, we are not doves. Remember Noah's Ark? You shouldn't be the first to go out. You're not a dove. Relax. Stay in the ark. Let's be ones who know that they have strong immunity.
Nigerian Christians.
Let them go out first. When they've told us, when the person that brings back the green leaf that yes, and there's a vaccine.
So who is the dove?
And many women did not bring
back that they will never catch it. But it's interesting though. But the truth is that today is May 4th. A lot of companies are reluctant to open. Others are excited about opening. My mother called me yesterday and told me, after your view, go home. I said, unfortunately, I can't. I have to go to one or two places. So the thing is, you have to be careful. We all have to make sure we have, put others into consideration.
Nose mask, everybody. Nose mask.
I've got my own right here.
Okay, so let's go on a break. When we come back, we have so much to discuss. But first, we'll go through the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, start with The Nation. PTF, that's the Presidential Task Force, coronavirus cause of mass deaths in Kano. How CBN can boost production and investment by Tinubu. CBN halts mass sack in banks. Use of 10% of GDP as stimulus for firms and others. How to steer COVID-19 action train by Adeola. Okay, let's start with, the PTF story is everywhere. So let's take the Tinubu story. Oh, which one?
Yes. Yeah. So the former governor of Lagos State, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has mentioned that the best way to stimulate this economy right now is to lower interest rates. He's saying that based on the economy before, we would say it would have been tough to stimulate this or to drop the interest rate. But this COVID-19 has given us a good opportunity to do what we should have done since. He mentioned how every successful and prosperous nation runs on a credit system, and a credit system cannot work in Nigeria because we don't have interest rate that is favorable. So in July 2016, interest rate was put at 14%. That's the MPR monetary rate was put at 14%. And in March 2019, it was dropped to 13.5%. But every bank has to put like 3 or 4% on it, which puts interest rate going out to be like 19 to 20-something%. So based on this information, people will not want to get credit, and no successful economy runs without credit. So it is counterproductive for our CBN and our policymakers not to use this opportunity to incentivize growth in our economy. So I totally, I already digested it and I support him.
In
fact, I just saw that you actually read it. So let me not even try to add a few things.
The CBN is also saying that the Bankers Committee should put a halt on the mass sack that they have been sort of preparing their employees to do. Yes, that this isn't the right time, and they would find ways, you know, to help sort of bail out banks during this period. They understand that this is affecting the banking business, but the sack would definitely affect families and things like that. So before they take that step, it should be done, you know, with the collaboration of the CBN. And
well, sentimentally, I would say, oh, CBN, thank you. But as a business owner, I don't want any government official coming to tell me, don't sack your staff when you're not giving me money to pay the staff. So let them have that discussion.
That's what the committee has come up with. So
yeah, it's a continuous conversation. And I think even we have to bring in people to help us understand. Because the truth is that many SMEs are facing this. Not because there's no money to pay them, but it's more the fact that with this lockdown, they realized who they need and who they do not need.
Yes.
Do I need this extra service? Do I need the Tigers? Do I need the extra security? Do I need this? So
my husband has done his own list too.
So right now,
essentials.
you have the essentials. As a business, you're now realizing that there's so many things we have that are totally unnecessary.
And that's what the banks are saving. 75% of their employees really are not needed at this time. So you have security people, we have people in the bank
it
premises
business
themselves.
Sense, but then economically, if you lay off those numbers
right now,
it's going to be crazy.
So I think that's why it's a good thing
that
the
banks take one for the
hold off for now. Moving on to Punch, 80% of Kano coronavirus samples positive, says Buhari panel. Osho illegal mining, 17 Chinese monarch, others face persecution. 23 Nasarawa Assembly members quarantined as member dies. JAM remits 7 billion naira to FG for 2020 UTME. CBN prevails on banks not to sack workers. 17th birthday, Leah Sharibu's parents accuse federal government of deceiving Nigerians. Let's start with the major headline, Kano State. Let's knock that out once.
Okay, good. So since we're taking it here, Kano State, the presidential task force that had been sent from the federal government to Kano State, and the head, Nasiru Gozo, has, you know, on BBC Hausa was saying that, yes, they've taken 100, out of 100 samples that were taken from Kano State, 80% of them tested positive for coronavirus. And then he said, as for the deaths, so far, for every, I think he said for every 5 that they had taken, 4 came out with that, but it is still ongoing. They're still, so, you know, there's a conversation where is it coronavirus or is this something else? So he says both sides are correct, because we do have samples that have shown that some of them died from coronavirus, but yes, there were some who died from hypertension, diabetes, and things like that. And these are people that usually, especially the rich, who would have traveled abroad, but because of the situation on ground, could not get to the hospital. So the numbers, you know, seem like coronavirus is one of the major causes.
Connects me to what Cardinal Okoje was saying, that we have failed to invest in hospitals. So right now, you can't even come to Lagos. Lagos, I know former Abba Akere, late Abba Akere was flown to Lagos State, but many people cannot come to Lagos. I mean, you have to stay in your state. You're in Bauchi, if you're in Delta, you have to stay there. So it's whatever medical services your government has provided
that was put there.
It's based on what you have. So and it's unfortunate that many of these people have to die. And they're actually very important, notable people that died in Kano so far. Really sad. Let's take one more story in Punch.
Leah Sharibu. So the spokesperson for the family of Leah Sharibu and the president of Leadership Empowerment Advocacy Humanitarian Foundation, Leah Foundation, Dr. Gloria Samdi Peldu, has said that the family of Leah Sharibu, that's the father Nathan and Rebecca, have said that the presidency hasn't been sincere.
That's sad.
They haven't been sincere in their statement that they are going to bring back their daughter. So the daughter is 17 and she has done her 15th and 16th birthday while being held captive for not denouncing a Christian faith. So they are saying that they don't feel the sincerity of the government in fighting, in bringing back the children, and it's just talk shop from the government. And my heart goes out to the family and every other person that is being kidnapped, because there are many others apart from Leah Shaibu that is still being held by the ISIS West Africa, and we're praying that somehow they can negotiate their release.
Okay, I was going to take the Monarch, the Oshun mining, but I think it's somewhere else. Let's move on to Vanguard. Anxiety as lockdown eases in Lagos, Ogun, FCT. Stay at home, Sanwo-Olu tells Lagos civil servants. COVID-19 cause of mysterious deaths in Kano, we took that already. Disquiet as cult wars rage in Cross River Delta towns. World Press Day, Buhari flees purveyors of fake news. And all aboard, steering Nigeria's COVID-19 action train by Fola Adiola. It's a very interesting article, and I encourage people to actually read it up. I think he broke it down, letting us know, listen, the truth is that even if there's a vaccine, it won't get to us in at least 18 months. That's the truth. So we must take responsibility, and all must be on board to support the government in containing and reducing the spread. So you would have it. Many of us would actually, our immune system would help us out. But there's so many people that cannot have that opportunity. Okay, let's take another story in Vanguard. Which one are we taking?
There was the story of the media.
It's not in Vanguard. We'll take that in Vanguard. Let's move on to Daily Sun. Oh, we'll take that in Tribune or something. It was in Tribune or something. Let's move on. We want to take that story. I didn't mention it. Let's move to Daily Sun. Compulsory face mask use. Other measures take off today. That's as NMA fears fresh COVID-19 lockdown. IMO workers lament 3 months unpaid salaries. COVID-19 has exposed Nigerian leaders. I mentioned that earlier. Nasarawa lawmakers dies of coronavirus. Government shut assembly. And Tinubu charges CBN to crash interest rates. Okay, let's take a few stories. Imo State, who has that story?
So, citizens, or rather, about 19 parastatals and agencies are affected that their staff haven't been paid salaries. So they've appealed through the NLC chairman, Austin Chilakpu, to help them appeal to the governor, Hope Uzodinma, to pay their salaries for 3 months now. Specifically, Imo Broadcasting Corporation, Agri Development Program, Imo State Water Corporation, Poverty Alleviation Bureau, primary and secondary school teachers haven't been paid salaries in 3 months, and they are begging that, especially with this COVID-19, they are suffering, they're at home, they want a bit of cash flow that they couldn't have gotten if they were able to do a bit of side trade. So that's the essence of what they are saying, and I'm waiting to hear what the Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Declan Umba, however, said it was the agencies that were delaying efforts to clear the backlog of workers' salary, as they were not giving the government necessary cooperation on the ongoing audits and authenticating genuine beneficiaries from ghost workers. So,
in Nasarawa State, a lawmaker had to pass on from COVID-19. His sample was taken, but before he got the result, he had passed on. And because of that, the State of Assembly has been on lockdown, and all the lawmakers and the speakers have been quarantined. But, you know, on the other side, I heard stories, at least this is social media, people were saying people went and sat down together in groups to commiserate, you know, with the family. And this is someone that has passed from this. And these are people that should know better, sitting down together. And that's some people came together to sit down for days and days. Please, Nigerians, this is so real. I mean, if someone has passed, you should be careful. I mean, don't you have self-preservation instincts?
No, but then we're not used to it. Our nature is communal. So we want to go hug that person that just lost someone without realizing that that person might be positive and you might get it. So we need to wake up to our new reality. You can't hug anymore. You can't commiserate with people and sit down with them anymore. It's not safe for you.
Right. Our final paper this morning is the Nigerian Tribune. Killing of 55 journalists covering COVID-19. We need special protection, says NGE. Lagos rolls out 30 new guidelines. Nigerians worry over resumption. Let's find a story we've not taken. Buhari mourns murder Uniport students, directs more intense police action. and Ondo 2020 aggrieved aspirants want Aregbesola to intervene. Okay, let's take the NGE story. Dr. You wanted to take that story?
No, I didn't read it, but you see, for me, I followed the international media consistently over how this is a major occasion to celebrate the efforts and the deaths and the sacrifice and the work being done by the fourth realm, because yeah, that's what the media is. But to have the presidential statement carry the importance of the perpetrators of fake news, the media houses are also being pained and they are suffering from the people carrying fake news. So most reputable media houses don't carry fake news. Their workers are at risk. We've had case of threats from Ebonyi State. I think that all governments and all governors, despite COVID-19, should be speaking up and supporting the media for what they're doing in raising awareness and protecting and putting their own lives at risk. So this is not the time to be saying somebody is saying fake news. It's time to say support the media.
All right. So the article actually was talking about the World Press Day, and the president of the Nigerian Guild of Editors was saying that 55 journalists across the world in 23 countries have died. They've been at the forefront in covering this story, and Nigerian journalists also need to be protected. We need the PPEs, we need support from the government, because we are out there covering, going to isolation centers and all that. So it's important that we take it quite seriously. That's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, we'll take a few updates on COVID-19. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thank you for staying with us. According to reports, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control has expressed fears that the number of coronavirus cases in the country will continue to rise for the next few months. As lockdown imposed by the federal government and the FCT, actually, Lagos State and Ogun State are still on. Now, what are your general thoughts on this? You can give us a view 0708066814. You can also tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. Okay, so as I said, they set us out today. Companies, I mean, I watched quite a number of webinars over the weekend. I mean, I'm enjoying it.
I am too.
In the comfort of my house.
Yes, I get
it. Business.
So much information.
The top business business owners out there talking about how they plan to start the business, how they plan to work online going forward. Many of them are changing the entire business model, and they are actually thinking that they might. Some are planning to retrench, but everybody's silent on this retrenchment issue now because they don't want people to start sending their matter on social media. But however, the point is that today is Monday. A lot of companies are opening. In your view, what are your thoughts? I know we shared a few things earlier, but in your view, how are you taking it? Or do you think it's a good idea, or would you advise people to still take things slowly?
I think everybody knows my position. I think it is a bad idea, honestly, because the numbers are rising. And when the numbers are rising, that's definitely not the time to send people out. But people have said to me, well, it's not just about food. Because I was saying a lot of people have complained that they don't get food. Maybe that government should look at providing food instead, find better ways to make sure that food gets to those that need it, instead of sending us out. But people have said, well, what if your wife gets pregnant and or your wife is ill, or she just had a baby and you need to pay for hospital bills or rent and things like that? Then you would know that it's important to go and get a job. And I still feel that's where the government can come in. Right. I know in some other countries, I don't know if we did it here, where landlords have been told not to collect rents for a period of time during the lockdown, because nobody's making money anywhere. And if everybody's at home and you say you have a business and you open up and nobody comes to your shop, it's still the same thing. Right. So for me, I think it's better we stay home, and the government should do more in making sure palliatives of different sorts. People should also be able to go to the hospital, which is very important now. So it's non-COVID, but of course, all hospitals are meant to treat everybody like they may be COVID. But your child falls down and breaks an arm. You should be able to take your child to the hospital to get treatment. So I think that's where government needs to come in and maybe create different hospitals within the different communities where you can go for things like this.
In addition to that, remember the governor of Ogun State had actually sent out a post, guidelines on what people should consider before coming out. And then one of the things he said that if you're living in Ogun State and you work in Lagos State, you're not allowed to come to Lagos. Now that's spurred up quite a bit of conversation online. Was that a good idea? Can you force somebody not to go to work, especially because the state they work in has lifted lockdown from 9 a.m. to 3 a.m. for workers? What do you think, Tope? Go ahead.
Well, for me, one, I don't agree with the lockdown being lifted. I don't think it is the right time. I think that we locked down when the numbers were less, and then we're releasing people when the numbers have increased and is increasing. So I don't agree. But I understand the pain of people and their eagerness to run out. There are many social media memes of the people running out like they were released from prison because this is like a major lockdown, inconvenient for many people. Regarding Ogun State, I think the state governor is responsible for the citizens of his state and he has a right to protect his citizens. It's his cost. Nobody going for treatment in Yaba is being asked to pay money and deposit before being treated. That is the responsibility of the governor and the state to finance the health treatment. So the state governor has a right to prevent increase in number of positive cases in his state because he knows I cannot afford it. So if you work in Lagos, find a place to live in Lagos, squat with somebody, don't carry yourself in and out and bring... I know someone, a fruit seller in my area, during the lockdown, had to move into a location with somebody close to my house because she lives in all those Arepo area, but she sells fruits close to my house. And so she's been living close because that's the only way she can get there. So I think the governor, the governor has a right to say, if you live in Ogun State, you want to benefit from healthcare in Ogun State or you want to benefit from healthcare from Lagos State, stay where you want to stay. And then I have a right to know that I am protecting people that have sat down at home.
Okay, let me people like YK can't come to Lagos State now because they live in Ogun State, really. Why can't BC live in Ogun State, really, technically?
Well, BC is on the fence. BC is like...
But you cannot cross over to Lagos State. Let me take this call first. Good morning, are you there?
Can work things out.
Good morning, are you there? Kemi, I think, or Kenny?
Yeah, Kenny, good morning.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, actually looking at the basic structure of the basic needs the NCDC is actually passing across.
Okay.
We can actually see that the rise in the numbers of cases we are having in this country is now becoming unbearable based on statistics. Now, what I think, in my own view, we need to do is that the unlock system at which the federal government has provided needs to be gradually measured.
Yeah.
It needs to be gradually measured in the sense whereby, by now, we don't expect it to be so massive in this return. So that's the message I want to put across. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. My major worry has been always only the markets. They are essentials, but our markets are so disorganized. In other parts of the world where they are saying, okay, go to the malls, you get your stuff, things are a bit more organized. Here, we have hundreds and thousands of people falling into like it's mile 12 market. So what I think Nima has been saying from day one is like, if at the entrance, we now have these wash hand basins, maybe like we have like 50 or 100 across the board. So when you're entering the market, you're washing your hands, you have the right face mask. So these are things that we might need in philanthropists to begin to look into. All our major markets must have entry points, one entry point or multiple entry points that has enough washing bands, wash hand basins for people to wash their hands.
So Lagos State has said that on Mondays, on Wednesdays, on Fridays, essentials, and then Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturday for essential businesses. And there's a guideline. So and it's all over the social media and everywhere on what to do, how to protect ourselves. I know that the local markets, all the local markets, they have like daily contributions that they pay to the community that probably protection and all the other. My expectation is that the others have been informed. We saw the mass awareness that went on before the lockdown. These buckets is not something you should ask a philanthropist to do. It's something the Yaloja and those coordinators of the market should put at every point. Put at every point before you enter this market. And our markets, like you said, what should have been done is that each customer that is attending, each vendor attending to a customer will now say, if you are more than two, please stay away from me and all of that. Then everybody wear a mask. Like,
have you been to the market in a... You've been to
okay, so what I do is I try to just buy from roadside. So I'm not going into the market. So we have like
sorry to pause you. Hold it for a while. Good morning, are you there?
Good morning.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Please, I think in this country, we need...
Oh, we lost that call. Mariam, you're telling us about how...
Yes, I was saying that, so for me, instead of going into the market where everybody is, I just try and buy what I need. And right now, it's not really the time to be looking for that special cow leg with the, just buy the basic that you need. Exactly, looking for tozo. Just buy the basic that you need and take home. That's what's important. And for me, but what is most scary is the transportation. And I know that the government has said several times that the number of people in buses should be much, a lot reduced. You should have, I think, 6 people or 1 person per seat.
The picture going online, you can't confirm it, yeah.
But today, I saw the Sienna buses.
Yeah.
I saw the driver in front, one person on the second row and the next. But the buses were full. Full capacity.
The regular
the
buses.
The regular yellow buses.
Oh, the yellow buses.
Yes, those buses are full. Even during the lockdown, when you just see them full. And I don't know how they get past all the security people. You know, I don't know if they come down when they see a security and then jump back on the buses. But that's what's happening. And that is my fear. So you have people who are coming from different areas, and we know that we have community spread, squashed up in these buses, now come to work, go to the market, go to the hospitals. So how are we enforcing this lockdown?
It's really, I can understand what we're going through, and a lot of, when this started, a lot of world leaders or influencers were predicting a lot of negative reports on Africa. This is going to happen to Africa.
And I remember
we kept saying that,
going, God forbid.
God forbid. Yes, because we feel like God forbid. God is still forbidding. But at the same time, the numbers are increasing every day. It's telling us that something is happening and we need to take proper care. So the government is doing their own part, but we also as a people must begin to do our part. So instead of waiting for the philanthropies, the government officials to do this, in your local market areas, some of us can come forward, because if you're living in other parts of the world, you don't wait for government. People have organized themselves. Those are your roadside markets. Somebody will have gone there to organize the women. Okay, this is how you do. Spread yourself out and help. We need to inform and help our community, especially in the market areas.
I think we inform. Another thing is that I don't think Nigerians like to take correction or
change is hard.
Change
is hard.
We blame government and people that are supposed to sensitize too many times, but I know in this particular case they have gone round.
Okay, so yeah, and I know too. I saw videos even from Oyo when I was in Ibadan. So we know this. We saw the Dokwesi family and how one person had it and everybody got it. Right. And yet these same people that are so aware go and visit someone who's just bereaved of COVID-19. So it is
all of us are in this.
It's that lack of ability to adapt, and we all must adapt. This is a new reality, and you cannot stay in the past. You will go with it.
We have to wrap up, but you see, we can see two states, Kano and Lagos State. How Lagos State responded and what we did. And then we see Kano State right now, the numbers are crazy, and they already have that communal spread, like serious communal spread. 80% now, according to the PTF. So we've seen the difference, and that cannot happen in Lagos. It must not happen in Lagos. So that's why we must ensure. And in other parts of the country, not just Lagos State.
That's why we're saying if you live in
everybody
Lagos State,
listen to what your government is saying at this time. COVID-19 is real and compliant. Unfortunately, we have to go on a break. And we come back, this issue, this new bill on the control of the infectious diseases. It's been trending. Senator Dina Milaye said a few things about it. It has gone viral. We'd like to hear your thoughts on it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, according to reports, the Quarantine Act of 1926 has remained the only act of the National Assembly used in dealing with infectious diseases and outbreaks in Nigeria. However, a new bill titled Control of Infectious Diseases Bill 2020, sponsored by the Speaker of the House of Representatives and two other lawmakers, seek to empower the federal government to convert any property in the country, including private properties, to isolation centers, amongst many other things. Join us as a member of the House of Representatives, Honorable Igariwe Iduma. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good to have you on the show this morning. Right. So this bill has spurred quite a bit of controversy. One of the first was the fact that people are already complaining that is an exact replica of the Singapore bill. Now, that shouldn't be a big problem, but people feel that it's like we have not totally made it ours. We've not brought it home. We've not reformed that bill to affect our own realities. Could you respond to that, please?
Thank you very much. Well, you are correct. That is one of the things we have heard people say about the bill. But truth of the matter is that is the nature of bills the world over. Practice is that if you see a bill or a law, an act in another jurisdiction that suits the same subject matter you seek to take care of in your own country, then you can very well adopt the bill. That is what is done everywhere. Don't have that issue of plagiarism. It doesn't apply at all. So if there's anything people should not say about this bill, it is that we copied the bill. Yes, we saw the situation in Singapore fits our own situation, and what we did was adopt what they did in Singapore and localize it. If you go through the bill, you will see that there is enormous local content in the bill. So it's not correct at all to say that we merely imported a bill from Singapore and we didn't apply it to suit our local situation. It's not true at all.
Okay, before we go into the details of the bill, why is there, and let's help our viewers understand, why is there a need to have a legal backing for all that the government wants to do concerning infectious diseases?
Well, again, it is extremely important, especially in this present day and time, that we do things properly. What we seek to do by repealing inheritance, because that is what the present Quarantine Act is part of our received English law. What we seek to do is to make it fit for purpose for present day Nigeria. There's no way we can just take what was conceived in 1926 and apply it in Nigeria today. So many of the things that were infectious diseases in 1926, such as cholera, plague, smallpox, typhus, all those things some of them have been taken care of. But there's a new genre of infectious diseases, like we all know. Today, we have corona, for example. We've had SARS, we've had Ebola. So there is need to bring our law up to speed. There is need to think of and consider how to tackle present-day realities in terms of illnesses, ailments. So that is the primary reason for us to find it necessary today, now, to reap.
All right. Okay, so personally, I've been able to, sort of go through what
we inherited in 1926, and bring a new regime of solutions to those problems. So that is what this bill is all about.
Okay.
It is an attempt to repeal a law we have seen that is no longer fit for purpose for present-day Nigeria.
Okay. So personally, I've been able to, go through most of what the bill says, and I actually like the idea, the general idea of what message that the bill is trying to pass. That is giving NCDC the authority, because of course it is equipped for that, to tell when there's a pandemic and all the other laws, powers that it's been given. But of course, with every bill, there will be controversies. And one of the controversies that Nigerians seem to be talking about is that they feel that there's a sinister agenda, that there's a Bill Gates agenda that Nigeria is trying to, perpetrate, which is maybe this would help in some vaccines that he is going to come up with, maybe a capitalist agenda, and it's not necessarily for our own good. Please, do you have anything to say about that thinking Nigerians are having concerning this?
I hope you got that. Hello? Ooh. I think we lost that. Okay, we might have to call him.
Many people will not get that question you threw at him because you didn't mention the law, the bill that is about to be passed.
Laughable allegations about conspiracy. Why would Nigeria's lawmaking body, like the National Assembly, we represent the people, we represent the interests of the people? What do we gain if we propose a law that goes against the interests of Nigerians? The truth about it is that the bill is about for both today and for tomorrow. Infectious diseases have come to stay with us, whether we like it or not. Nobody prays for it, but these are things that have to come once in a while. Now, is it good that we are caught hands down when this unfortunate situation comes around? So the only thing we can do is to develop a structure, how to respond, a protocol of when this thing comes, what do we do? As we speak now, most of the things we are doing now in response to coronavirus are things this bill is supposed to take care of. But at present, as we speak now, those things are, there's no law backing most of those things. When you go through this bill, you see lockdown, you see quarantine, but there's nothing presently on the existing quarantine act we have that will strengthen this administration or any administration to tackle infectious disease. It is unpatriotic. It is very disappointing for any Nigerian who has not even seen, who hasn't had the opportunity of looking at this bill, to sit down and say it is the product of a conspiracy theory. Far from it. If anything, this House, this Ninth Assembly should be commended for coming up with this solution. So what is the present day problem and what is likely going to be a future problem? This bill is not about coronavirus. It is about infectious diseases. You go through the bill, you won't see anything on coronavirus. What you will see is how do we respond to infectious diseases? How do we have a framework to tackle infectious diseases? That's all you see about this bill.
Okay, all right.
The bill itself seeks to prevent, number one, is to prevent the introduction of infectious diseases into Nigeria.
Right.
The second arm of the bill is to, what do you do? How do you stop the spread of infectious diseases when they get into Nigeria? That is the very singular aim of.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Sir, you know, the reason for the conspiracy is because the bill proposes that it will be compulsory and there will be people that don't take the vaccines be penalized. So that's the reason, and there's a lot of conspiracy out there. So I think that the House of Assembly needs to do, the House of Representatives needs to do more to dispel the already present conspiracy that this is a move to vaccinate the world and reduce the population. Because when you don't give that level of information, people just start thinking more to the story. But the one I have issues with, the one people have issues with, is the sort of draconic part of this, where the law empowers the government to pick a property and make it an isolation center. Like that law, how do we prevent abuse? That's my worry, because one of the things is, it might have a good intention, but how do you intend to prevent abuse of this law that empowers government to take over a private property and make it an isolation center in cases of outbreak of infectious diseases?
Globally, on how. So the point I'm trying to make is that there's even no vaccine for now. All over the world, research is going on how to get a vaccine. So this bill is not discussing any vaccine. What this bill is talking about is mandatory provision. Mandatory provision of vaccines and other things when the need arises. So it's not talking about, like I said, it's not talking about vaccines for coronavirus, but how do we prepare ourselves?
You see, government has a duty to pass public health laws that improve the well-being of the generality of its people. So in passing the laws, there are certain things you do, there are certain things you don't do, there are certain things that are that must be done in the overall interest of public health. Mind you, we are not talking of just the interest or welfare of one individual. We are talking of the interest and welfare of all Nigerians. Now, in a law like this, and that this is consistent with what operates in every other jurisdiction, there must be penal provisions. There must be sanctions. There must be certain demands on citizens. So these are things we conceive as penal provisions. There's no jurisdiction, there's no country you go to, and you look at their public health law, and you won't see penal provisions. Because if there are no penal provisions, it means you are making it must be mandatory that there is compliance one way or the other. So in looking at penal provisions, because that's generally what you are asking me, you have to look at what is the prohibited act. Then what is the contravention of, what constitutes contravention of the prohibited act? And then what is the sanction or penalty for that prohibited act? Now, if you know the true definition of an infectious disease, you'll find out that it is not something you just leave to the whims and caprices of individuals. Let's take the example of coronavirus that is ravaging the entire world now. If people are not forced to lock down, for instance, what do you think will be the outcome? People will just die all over. So that is why government, in its own wisdom, in trying to protect the public health of its citizens, has to take certain steps. For instance, if a particular location, it could be somebody's premises, is found, for instance, to be infested with infectious diseases, what do you expect government to do? What this law anticipates is that you designate such a place. It could be anywhere. It could be a market. It could be a private residence. You designate it as such and then take the appropriate action. That is what is expected. And it is good we know that this is in the public interest. Government has no interest in victimizing anybody. So the law is not so that people are divested of their property, no. But the law is such that if it would take an individual property to endanger the entire public, then that individual property should be locked down, for example, or should be taken over temporarily until the danger or the disease is taken care of.
Right.
So that's the thing about the question you asked about such places.
Okay, sir. Actually, what we're saying is the bill says it can use a private property as isolation center. So this is not a property that is suspected to be infected, but this is a property and they're looking for isolation center, especially now that we hear the Minister of Health saying that we need more isolation centers. So people are saying, if I have a hotel now and you come and take my hotel and make it an isolation center, what is the, what would I get from this? Because it's a hotel. Many people may say, well, after this coronavirus, I'm not going to that place. Do you know that's where they treated coronavirus? In what way are you going to incentivize people when you take their personal properties for things like that?
Well, again, let me just make it clear to us that there's been a lot of people have not seen this bill, and yet a lot of comments have been made. So certain things that are out there in the public space, if you look at the bill, you might find out that such things do not exist. Now, and again, it's very important. Let people not think that the lawmaking is still subject to taking refuse. Mind you that under Section 6, subsection 6B of the Constitution, the courts, for example, still have the power to strike down any law that does not follow the Constitution. So the point I'm trying to make is that every piece of item in this legislation must comply with constitutional provisions. Nigerians should take very particular note of that.
Right.
That every piece of legislation in this, every piece of item in this proposed bill must comply with the mandatory provisions of the law.
Right.
Because the courts can still override anything that goes contrary to the Constitution. That's
Because of time, I have to throw in a question, because one of my major worry is the fact that it's not the first time we're having infectious diseases in the world. We've had chicken pox, we've had measles, we have vaccines for many of these things. We never had a law forcing people to be vaccinated. We actually appeal to people to get vaccinated. Many people have been vaccinated against meningitis, but other parts of the country, people are still getting meningitis. They didn't take the vaccine. So why suddenly do we think we need a law to force people to take vaccines that the community so far, for many years, we've been appealing to communities to take vaccines, and many of them have actually complied. Others might haven't, but there was not a law forcing anybody to get vaccinated. So that's why people are having issues with this bill.
Okay, so let me make this clarification, and I just hope people will see the difference. There is nothing like forced vaccination in this bill.
Okay.
It's an assurance I am giving you. There is no item in this bill that talks about forced vaccination. What this bill talks about is mandatory provision. What it means is, if there is a vaccine that is discovered that is going to be effective in treating an infectious disease, our CDC should be prepared, should mandatorily acquire such vaccines for the good of the country. It's not good that, assuming there is an outbreak of infectious diseases, that we don't have a protocol of how to even acquire the medicines. Mind you that medicines could be vaccines, they could be tablets, they could be in any form. So people should not be fixated about vaccines. And again, nobody is saying that Nigerians are going to be guinea pigs to be used to test vaccines. No, there's no such thing in the bill. Okay. What the bill mainly talks about is mandatory provision.
Right. Okay,
thank you very much.
We have to wrap up here.
So another part that worried people was the fact that the speed with which the bill is being passed. So the first and second hearing at the same time, despite the fact that some members in the House of Representatives said they haven't seen the bill, and the plan was that all of them should have seen it. So would there be a public hearing to get the participation of citizens in this matter?
Hello? Oh, sugar, we lost the call. Unfortunately, we have to wrap up on that. We'll be speaking with the member House of Representatives, Honorable Igawere Iduma. We'll try to get him to answer that question because we need a public hearing, actually.
Yes.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll take a quick update from Kano State. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So Kano State has been trending for a while now due to the high rates of deaths allegedly caused by unknown sources, and some are saying coronavirus. This has really generated quite a bit of controversy in the state. Joining us to shed a bit more light and give us some updates on Kano State is Honorable Alhassan Ado Doguwa, representing Tundunwada Doguwa Federal Constituency of Kano, and he's also the leader of the House of Representatives. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Madam. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for joining us this morning.
It's my pleasure being with you.
We were speaking earlier with Honorable Iduma concerning the bill, but we'll come to that a bit later. We'd like you to first give us an update on Kano, especially because we read in the papers today that the PTF was saying that 80% of samples taken were confirmed COVID-19, and there's a strong indication that those who have died that have been tested, most of them have confirmed to have COVID-19. How do you respond to these?
Yeah, I think precisely, just like you have had the report, I've also come across this report, and I am of the view that actually the case we have in Kano is quite unfortunate. And going by the reports of the PTF high-powered team, the medical doctors earlier sent by the federal government, I think one has no doubt whatsoever. You just cannot be skeptical as regards the authenticity of the report, the preliminary report we are receiving from this team. Unfortunately, what is making these things worse, as far as I'm concerned, even though I'm a layman, but I can attest to the fact that when we had the lockdown, of course, the lockdown has created a lot of other things. One, you have locked down a city, an ancient city like Kano, with a lot of population in it. And unfortunately, even the conventional healthcare delivery system has also collapsed. Doctors, medical doctors, and health workers are shying away from patients. Victims of one ailment or the other, in a situation whereby you don't even have the basic instrumentality of protecting the medical health workers, doctors. They are shying away from their constitutional responsibilities simply because they are not protected also. They don't have the protective materials to really do their job. I agree with them. I understand that they have the commitment, they have the professional zeal, they have the know-how to do their job. But when certain things are not provided for them, actually, you find out that we have a problem. And I think that has constituted greatly, significantly to the rising state of death that we call mysterious death. And now that they are coming up with this kind of preliminary report confirming the fact that about 80 or 85% of the deaths we have recorded so far were directly or indirectly connected to COVID-19.
All right, let me get a question in for you. Let me get a question.
Contemplation.
Right, go ahead.
But sir, you are the one representing people in that state. Your job as the representative was to speak concerning these things before this deteriorates this much. As a representative, the issues of healthcare workers shouldn't be new to you. The issues of lack of facility all equipment shouldn't have been new to you. These were issues that you should have taken up with the House of Representatives to get them and get the minister to focus attention on the healthcare in your constituency. So if we're having deaths at the rate with which we're recording, and they're saying it's likely to be COVID-19, when we are it's not that we're unaware of this thing was going to come, what would you take responsibility for in what has happened so far, sir?
Yes, for me and my colleagues in the House of Representatives, I believe we have done enough. The only thing you can do is to bring it to the fore of the floor of the House of Representatives, which we have rightly done. Of course, I will have no hesitation to say the government has done quite impressive, because immediately after the motion we took, after the letter we have specially written to Mr. President, they quickly rushed into action. The President sent a team of medical doctors. But the issue that still remains a problem to us is that some of these basic facilities that are supposed to be provided by government, either at the center or at the level of the PTF, the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, are yet to be provided. Thank God personnel are already in action, and thank God also the organized private sector through Aliko Dangote is also doing a lot. We have seen the increment in the establishment of new testing centers. Of course, there are new testing centers. People are going to even volunteer themselves for testing. We have a lot of other facilities to do with isolation centers. Of course, we do have such things. But the problem that I kept on saying is the fact that medical doctors in conventional or private hospitals, in private or government-owned hospitals, are shying away not from their responsibility, but they are running away. They are afraid even coming close to patients, because some of those basic materials that are supposed to be provided for them, the protective, personal protective equipment, which are very fundamental and key in terms of this operation, they are not there. And if you are talking of the government, for instance, the government of Kano State has also done enough through so many initiatives and so many activities.
So 1 second you're saying they've done enough, 1 second you're saying they're not. I'm a bit confused, but let me let Mariam jump in here.
So a lot of people actually are very angry with the Kano story, and many people feel that some form of legal repercussions should come from the way Kano State, the Kano governor, and the representatives have handled Kano State as regards COVID-19. And listening to you, I'm wondering what sort of relationship do representatives of the people have with the state governor, that someone like you, who is so aware of the dangers of this spread of the coronavirus, is not able to call the government aside, have a committee, or sit down together and decide what is best for Kano citizens? What kind of relationship would you say reps have with the governor?
Of course, we have a fine relationship with the governor. The governor is a listening governor, and we are also responsible representatives of our people. When a matter of this nature comes up, what is apparent for the governor to do is, in the first place, like every other governor, is to able to lock down the state. He has taken this measure, locked down the state at the initial instance, and he has also supported the testing centers provided by the NCDC. That is what every other governor can do. He has also created sufficient number of isolation centers with enough. He has even engaged volunteer health workers. Over 50,000 volunteer health workers were engaged by Kano State government, and they are given the instrumentality to work. The reason why the Kano case may sound to be different is about our population, about our population and the political nature of Kano State. Some people are trying to politicize this matter. It's not political. I have said it times without number that the issue of COVID-19, which happens in Lagos, happens in Enugu, and it is all over the country and all over the globe. No one can take single advantage in Kano to make it a political case. The governor, as far as I'm concerned, he has done enough. He has engaged the traditional rulers, the ulamas, the business community at the state level, trying to fight COVID-19. And I think by what we are doing now, especially the kind of collaboration and collaboration with the agencies of government from the center and the agencies of the Ministry of Health in Kano, I have no doubt that we
let
will
me pause you for a quick second.
in Kano, and nobody under whatever guise can have the guts to accuse the state governor or the state government.
Okay, without politicizing anything, I just want to say, just until last week, Kano State was without a testing center for a good 7 days. And before that, given the population that you have just mentioned, you had only one testing center. What took the governor so long in places where you could compare Kano to a Lagos State in terms of population, where they're having centers where people could go and give samples, and Kano State wasn't thinking in that way? So this is without politics.
Of course, the Kano State governor was responsible for the creation of a new testing center in Bayero University, Kano. Another testing center was also created in Muhammadu Buhari Specialist Hospital. There is already another one in existence, which you said has failed in operation, the one in Malam Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital. Don't forget, remember, these testing centers at specialized facilities, which you cannot just go to area market and buy.
Yeah. Okay, all right. We have very little time, sir. I have to.
It is the NCDC that has the sole responsibility of coming to establish these testing centers in the initial stage.
You're right.
And
Let me just throw in one last question for you.
Based on his actions, based on his commitment and responsibility, he was able to push so much with the government at the center through the NCDC.
All right.
And of course, the organized private.
Let me pause you for a second, sir. I need to throw in one question for you.
Open and they're working.
Okay, sir, it's worrisome.
I want you to understand that the testing centers initially were not owned by the state government.
Right.
The state governor cannot just rush on the street.
Absolutely.
And establish
totally agree, sir.
Absolutely. Go ahead, talk about it.
So I understand the challenge that the state government must be going through, since only NCDC can carry out an test.
Yes,
so,
that is it.
but please, sir, we usually, when we speak to government officials, the idea of being defensive tends to stop people stop government officials from understanding the reality on ground by the people. You've been in the House of Assembly since 2007. Many people have complained that the issues on ground is backed up from years of not paying attention and neglecting the health sector. So it is not something that you could have just quickly rushed into. COVID-19 has just exposed our lack of preparation and investment in the health sector. And I'll still say you represent those areas. And what have you done within your own locality concerning the health sector to help your constituents to have better access?
Good. That's a good question. But as long as you want to be sincere with the case we have at hand, the issue of COVID-19 is one special case that we have to collectively fight, which is affecting every part of the country. If you are talking of our conventional healthcare delivery system, in Kano we have enough. The governor has a state-of-the-art specialist hospital, which is comparable to none in the country, which is called Muhammadu Buhari Specialist Hospital in Nasarawa local government in the municipality. We also have the Murtala Mohammed Hospital, which has been upgraded to a greater extent to respond to some of these infectious diseases and other related diseases. If you are talking about myself, my very good self, let me beat my chest to tell you that we don't have a single case of COVID-19 as I speak to you in Doguwa and Tudunwada Federal Constituency, where I represent.
I'm sincerely happy for you, sir.
I've been able to establish on my own through constituency projects over 16 primary health care. I've established about 6 centers for delivery and antenatal and postnatal attention to our own women and the young ones, the children. So as far as I'm concerned, this is a collective thing. When you are talking of Kano, you don't have to specify yourself to your own constituency alone.
All right, fantastic. We have to let you go, unfortunately.
By God's grace, I have been able to create an effective healthcare delivery system at primary healthcare level. We have our general hospitals working in both Tudunwada.
I have to let you go, sir. Unfortunately,
local government.
I'll run out of time. Thank you so much, sir. I do apologize for cutting you off because I have to go. We've lost so much time. But it's good to know what the Kano State government have done so far. But if we look at the numbers do not correlate to what we're hearing.
And he just said something.
He started by saying that they don't have healthcare workers.
He said something which I think we should look into, which he says a state cannot come up with those testing centers by themselves, except NCDC does it. So what are they saying? Did NCDC purposely not do what it was meant to do, knowing the numbers?
Unfortunately, we cannot discuss it, but I think Kano State is hot right now, and we're going to continue talking about Kano State throughout the entire week. So we will bring him back at some point to shed more light on what's going on in Kano State, because we are all worried. That's all we can take. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.